You are not going to believe what you just witnessed. In fact, if you're just joining us from that viral clip, you're probably as stunned as everyone in this gym was. Stick with me, because the story behind that man, the single dad janitor who just took on 10 elite commandos, is even more incredible than the takedowns you saw. This is a story about hidden strength, about the scars we carry, and about the moment a forgotten man was forced to remember who he truly was. If you're ready for a story that will hit you right in the heart, then like this video, subscribe, and let's dive into the night everything changed. The clang of a mop bucket echoed through the cavernous emptiness of the Olympus Fitness and Combat Center, a stark contrast to the state-of-the-art equipment that glinted under the sterile fluorescent lights. This was Marcus Thorne's kingdom after hours. The scent of disinfectant was his cologne, the hum of the industrial floor polisher his symphony. At 42, his shoulders carried a permanent slump, not from weakness but from the weight of a life he never expected. His hands, rough and calloused, were more familiar with the grip of a mop handle than they had been with anything else for a long, long time. His world, his entire universe, was a small, warmly lit apartment and his 7-year-old daughter, Lily. She was a sparrow of a girl with wide, curious eyes and a laugh that could mend cracked concrete. She was also the reason he worked 2 cleaning jobs, why his own dreams were packed away in a dusty box labeled, Before. Before, his wife, Sarah, got sick. Before, the medical bills swallowed everything. Before, the light in his life was reduced to the single, brilliant star that was his daughter. He'd been a soldier once, a decorated operator in a unit so classified he still couldn't say its name. But that man was gone, buried alongside the love of his life. The man who remained was a janitor, a father, a ghost. The challenge, as they called it, arrived on a wave of confident laughter and the swagger of 10 women who moved like natural predators. They were the Valkyries, an elite special operations unit undergoing urban combat training. Their leader, Captain Eva Rostova, was all sharp angles and sharper eyes, a woman who could silence a room with a glance. They'd rented the gym's advanced CQC simulator for the week, and Marcus was a phantom to them, a silent figure who wiped down their sweat and emptied their trash, invisible. On the 3rd night, their training took a playful turn. Bored with the holographic enemies, they started sparring amongst themselves. It was then that Corporal Jenna, the youngest and most brash of the group, spotted Marcus refilling a paper towel dispenser. "Hey, Mr. Thorne," she called out, a mischievous grin on her face. "We need a fresh dummy. How about you put on some pads and let us practice a few moves?" For fun, the other commandos chuckled. It was a harmless, if slightly condescending, offer. A way to blow off steam. Marcus shook his head, a gentle smile on his worn face. "Not my area, ma'am. These old bones are just for cleaning." But Captain Rostova saw something. She saw the way he moved, not with the sluggishness of a tired man, but with a quiet, economic grace. She saw the way his eyes tracked their movements, not with confusion, but with an unconscious, analytical precision. It was the look of a chess master watching a children's game. "Come on, Mr. Thorne," Eva said, her voice cool and challenging. "Indulge us. We'll go easy. Consider it a team-building exercise." The pressure was on. 10 pairs of elite eyes were on him. To refuse would seem churlish, to accept would be humiliation. Marcus thought of Lily, of the lessons he tried to teach her about courage and facing things that scare you. He thought of the whispers that would follow him if he cowered. He let out a slow breath, the ghost of his past stirring in its grave. "All right," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "But no pads." A stunned silence fell. Then, amused shrugs. They would take turns. It would be over in seconds. The first commando, a powerhouse named Reyes, stepped forward. She lunged, a textbook-perfect takedown aimed at his legs. The women expected a crash. What they saw was a blur. Marcus didn't block, he flowed. A slight shift of his weight, a guiding hand on her shoulder, and Reyes's own momentum sent her stumbling past him to the mat, landing with a soft thud but completely unharmed. The laughter died. The next 2 came at him together. They were a whirlwind of coordinated strikes. Marcus moved between them like water, his movements impossibly efficient. A parry here, a subtle redirection there. A wrist was gently trapped and leveraged, sending one woman spinning away. A foot was tapped at the exact wrong moment, breaking the other's balance. They fell in a heap, confused and unhurt. The gym was utterly silent now, save for the heavy breathing of the Commandos and the soft scuff of Marcus's worn work boots on the mat. Captain Ristova's analytical gaze had hardened into one of stark recognition. This was no fluke. This was art. This was violence refined to its purest, most non-lethal form. One by one, they came. And one by one, they were neutralized. He didn't throw a single punch. He didn't need to. He used their own strength, their own aggression, against them. He was a rock in a river, and they were the current parting around him. He wasn't fighting them, he was solving them. When only Captain Ristova remained, the air was electric. She didn't attack immediately. She circled him, her eyes searching for a tell, a weakness. There was none. The man they had seen as a meek janitor was gone, replaced by a figure of immense, calm authority. She feinted high and went low, a devastating leg sweep. Marcus simply wasn't there. He stepped inside her guard, so close she could see the flecks of gray in his blue eyes, see the deep, old sadness there. He didn't strike. He simply placed a hand on her chest and gave a soft, firm push. It wasn't powerful, but it was perfectly timed and placed. Her balance, already committed to the sweep, shattered. She fell onto her back, looking up at the man standing over her, not in triumph but with a look of profound tiredness. The silence was deafening. 10 of the most highly trained warriors in the country were on the floor, defeated by a man they'd patronized, a man who smelled of bleach and hard work. It was Jenna who broke the silence, her voice a whisper. "Who are you?" Marcus looked at his hands, then back at them, the warrior receding, the janitor returning. His shoulders slumped once more. "I was someone else, a long time ago," he said, his voice thick with memory. "Before my wife got sick. The things I learned, they weren't for showing off. They were for the darkest nights, for when there are no rules. I put that man away so I could be a father. So I could be there to read bedtime stories and pack lunches." He walked over to a small, worn backpack leaning against the wall and pulled out a slightly crumpled drawing. It was a child's rendering of a man with a mop, under a giant sun. In wobbly letters, it read, "World's Best Dad." He held it up, his eyes glistening. "This is my medal now. This is my mission." He didn't wait for a response. He picked up his mop and continued his rounds, the quiet swish, swish the only sound in the vast, humbled gym. The Commandos were left on the mats, not just physically bested but morally disarmed. They had seen a different kind of strength. Not the strength to break, but the strength to endure. Not the strength to conquer, but the strength to sacrifice. Captain Ristova eventually found him in the supply closet, meticulously coiling a hose. "Mr. Thorne," she began, her voice uncharacteristically soft. We owe you an apology. And our respect." Marcus just nodded. "No need, Captain. But there is," she insisted. "You taught us something today. We trained to be the sharpest spear. You became an unbreakable shield. For her." She gestured to the drawing, now carefully placed on his bucket. From that night on, everything changed. The Valkyries no longer saw the invisible janitor. They saw Marcus. They bought new uniforms for Lily's school, anonymously. They fixed his aging pickup truck on a weekend. They became, in their own fierce, quiet way, a part of his shield. So, you see, the narrator's voice returns, soft and compelling. The story wasn't about a janitor beating Commandos. It was about a father's love being the most powerful force on earth. It was a reminder that heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes, they wear worn-out work boots and carry a drawing in their pocket. They walk among us, their greatest battles fought in silence, their greatest victories being the simple, profound act of showing up for the people they love. If this story of hidden strength and a father's love moved you, if it reminded you that everyone has a story, then do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more tales of the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary, and let us know in the comments what hidden strength you carry. Remember, the world may never know your name, but to someone, you are their entire world. Be the shield.